Hey everybody, welcome back. It is CALLOUS Draft League Week 6. It is the other David versus Goliath match. With the way the pairings fell in blue v green, kind of unfair. Undefeated 48 for the green team on the top against a player who's had a tough tournament in KolaKoala on the bottom. 48 in theory is favored to win here, but it would be a huge pickup for the blue team if Kola could get the W, and the blue team needs it because they are clinging by a thread to make it into playoffs, but right now it's looking like an uphill battle. They are really going to have to rally here after the Witch Gender defeat by Zakaru and rattle off probably 7 or 8 out of the remaining matches in order to get their spot. This is not going to be one of the easy ones to win, but it's a best of one. Anything can happen. Let's see what Kola can do. Here's their game. T-Tar lead and Arrow lead, respectively. Potentially both threatening to each other. Neither one is comfortable, and we end up with Fori on Hariyama. Knockoff, sure, seems fair. And there is Spikes. That's the obvious move for both of them, so fair enough on that trade. Brick Break, which is usually my preferred fighting attack on Yama, but some people go for Cross Chop instead. And Brick Break again as Starmie comes in. So 2 layers of spikes down, but knockoff happened, and switch advantage currently is with Kola, but doesn't actually take advantage of the incoming Blissey here, just goes for Psychic, obviously hoping that the Yama would stay in, which was not the case. And a little bit of a misstep here as Kola switches his T-Tar into a T-Wave, probably not what he wanted to do. Yama is a damn good T-Tar counter and T-Tar full paras, so we don't know what he wanted to do. Here comes Starmie. Okay, Brick Break. I was worried that Starmie was about to come into a knockoff there, but crisis averted for now. And Blissey comes in, down to just 53%, as an obvious recover turn happens here for Kola. And it's probably an obvious recover turn on the other side as well. I would assume Soft Boiled is about to occur, and it does. And Kola takes advantage of the opportunity to go to Fori and probably set a 3rd layer down. Here comes Blastoise, and it's EQ, actually. I'm not clear what he was anticipating with that, what he was trying to catch with that EQ. That seemed like a weird turn, but regardless, the Blastoise does get a rapid spin-off, and the spikes are no more. Thunderbolt there trying to catch the Blastoise. That would be the obvious target, but alas, it's Blissey instead, which is generally going to wall the crap out of that Starmie. And there is Seismic Toss. Hariyama comes in. Counter. Sure. Kind of cat's out of the bag now, but not going to even try it against Yama, obviously, because you're not going to live to counter a Brick Break. And now Starmie is also without its leftovers. Blissey comes into Psychic. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't have brought the Starmie. Starmie's a great Mon, but the issue with Starmie in this matchup is it has absolutely no chance of breaking through the Blissey. That's the problem. And it seems like overall, 48 has assembled a pretty sturdy team that Kola's seemingly somewhat passive team is going to have a very difficult time breaking through. Starmie here can just recover, but doesn't change the overall issue that I have with the matchup. I mean, it's so early and they both have unrevealeds, even though we can probably, for the most part, fill in the blank as to what it's going to be since the draft was face up, but what seems to be the case here is that 48 has very reliable answers to everything that Cole is trying to do, and Sceptile makes an appearance for the first time for 48, which Starmie wants no part of. Substitute here. If he's got HP Fire, now would be a wonderful time to click that. But that does not seem to be the case. It is just Leech Seed. Now Hidden Power Bug is going to pop the sub, but Fori's sitting there with no lefties. Can't stay in forever. I'm kind of surprised, actually, that 48 didn't just re-sub up. I think I would have. But he sees it differently, and we end up with Starmie on Blastoise, respectively. Fair enough. But as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by the Sceptile being revealed, it looks to me like 48 has opted for a very sturdy team, a very defense-minded team that has the answers to the threats that Cole is putting down. That boom is actually somewhat relevant. It doesn't kill the Blastoise, crucially, but the damage on it could matter. But yeah, I mean, the Blastoise is there to remove spikes, and indeed, the Fori did end up going down without getting to stick a single layer, so that matters. And then the Starmie is obviously neutralized by the Blissey, and likewise, the T-Tar is neutralized by the Yama, so it looks like 48 largely has the answers for everything that Cole is trying to do. But here comes the Muck. Not sure if that's what he needs here or not, but it's a super cool Mon, and I'm pumped to see it in action. It does get a Toxic off on Blissey, which isn't a huge deal, but unfortunately it got hit with a T-Wave. He's got to start cursing up. This is actually really cool. Hariyama might have Whirlwind, but otherwise, Muck is actually... Wow, I'm really surprised that he switched. He must have anticipated the Earthquake there. Good play there for Kola, I guess. That Earthquake had not been revealed prior either, so he played around an unrevealed move there in an advantageous matchup. Good play for Kola. A lot of players, I think, would have stayed in that position. I probably would have, to be honest with you, but Kola avoids the EQ. Good for him. Gyarados comes in, taunts to prevent a T-Wave. Also good for him. Gyarados obviously doesn't want to be paralyzed. And he's going to Dragon Dance up. He's now faster than Arrow, but can he actually do anything to it? And it seems to be no. Starmie insta-deleted by a critical hit, but even if it weren't there, you got to remember it doesn't have lefties anymore, so it wasn't really going to be an answer in this situation. Going to try to induce him to stay in with the Arrow and walk into the counter, but that is way easier said than done when you already revealed the counter and 48 knows that it's there. And that Brick Break is not going to come close to negating the wish that was floating. Yama back up to a hundo. Knock off yet another Pokemon without its lefties. And Counter, tragically, is going to fail there because in this generation, Knock Off, a dark move, as with all dark moves, is a special attack, not a physical attack. So Counter is not going to get it. Here comes Meta for 48. That gets Brick broken as well, but again, not even close to negating the wish. And Meteor Mash is going to one-hit KO the Tar. So Kola, I think, is in some big trouble here. Here comes Crobat, which is not the solution to his problems. Hidden Power, 32%, sure. Much, much bigger Meteor Mash, 94 on the swing back. It's going to leave Kola with only Gyarados and Muck. He might be faster than Sceptile now. The sand says that he is, so I guess that's a starting point. But Frustration is going to be the attack rather than HP Flying. Hey, maybe that means he's got the HP Rock that he needs for meta. Maybe there's a chance. And by meta, I mean Aerodactyl. Yeah, maybe if he has HP Rock here and he crits, maybe he can actually sweep with Gyra. Maybe. But he just has Frustration. That's not going to do it. And unfortunately, it is only the Muck against things that probably have Earthquake and Boom and all sorts of nasty things that Muck can't handle. So as cool as my man Muck is, awesome to see it. He is not going to make the comeback in this game, and 48 is going to win this one pretty convincingly. So, it reminds me quite a bit of the Which Gender Zakaru match. Both of these went the way of the green team, and the player that on paper is the better player, so it's unsurprising. But it's got to be frustrating for blue because not only do you have to play the best team in the tour twice, both in week 1 and in week 6, but also just with the way the pairings fell, it felt like those two matchups, Which Gender against Zoc and then Kola against 48, were really lopsided and just really uphill battles that were a very, very tough ask of your guys to try to get them to get wins in that matchup. I mean, the managers did not coordinate with each other on the lineups, so they didn't know that these pairings were going to fall in this way. That's just kind of the way it worked out, but you've got to think from Blue's perspective, if the matchups had fell a little differently, if Kola and Which Gender had been against some of the weaker guys on green, not that there's too damn many of them because they've been dominant, but if they had been against other players on the green team, maybe it was a little bit more feasible for them to get wins. But really, really tough to ask them to go ahead and beat Zakaru in 48. And 48, by the way, just completed his 6-0 regular season. And that's going to put Blue, like I said, in a really tough spot. They're not mathematically out, but they probably have to win 7, if not all 8, of the remaining matches against Green. Not an easy thing to do, and I wish them the best in their endeavor, but probably blue is going to be out of playoffs, and it's going to be one of pink or purple taking the final spot. Regardless, hope you guys enjoyed it. The other game, DJ Arctic Pirate and Sarcasm, I believe they are dead gaming. I believe that because their result doesn't matter, and because Sarcasm, I guess, broke his hand, got in some freak accident, and is in the hospital, I believe they agreed on a dead game. So that game will not be here, but the 8 games that we did cover are all from the drafts. And yeah, pending something unforeseen, the next time you guys hear from me, it'll be playoffs. I look forward to seeing you there. Leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. And yeah, playoffs are going to be fun. Thanks, guys.